Let's talk to Adam Hawksbee, who's Deputy Director at Onward. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I'm trying to think, you're a centre-right think tank at Onward. So does that mean you don't want good money thrown after bad and public finances to be well taken care of? Because Rishi Sunak, where it's reported today, is alarmed by the escalating costs, and the costs are far worse than anyone knows, apparently. Or are you in favour of spending more money on a private project, supposedly, that's actually going to benefit the infrastructure and benefit people and level us up? Where do you stand on this?
So the overrunning costs of HS2 are a national scandal. The fact that the project has spiralled, almost tripled in how much it's going to be, as various stops and routes have been delayed, is an enormous problem. But the fact that they keep removing various lines, you mentioned the Leeds line that has been scrapped. The talk is at the moment that they might get rid of the link between Old Oak Common, that bit in West London and Euston, and the link between Birmingham and Manchester. Every time they do that, the project becomes worse value for money. And all the time they're doing that, what we're not doing, which is really important, is increasing connectivity in the Midlands and in the North. So of course, we need value for money, but at the moment, HS2 will deliver those benefits. And there isn't anything else on the table that's going to deliver the connectivity we need.
Well, I mean, except for the east-west links, which we know that, Northern Powerhouse Rail was supposed to all be about, and that's what the mayors of all these great northern Midland cities, which, by the way, drove our prosperity. It wasn't London that drove our prosperity in the 19th century. It was those great northern cities, the industrialisation that happened there. Those cities are crying out for those links. Even the most basic railway links, better bus links would be a good start. The link to London, there's loads of evidence that all that's going to do is just boost London even more and make basically out, the south part of Birmingham, basically you can now commute to London. That doesn't do anyone any good, so you can have a bigger house while commuting to London. I mean, the key thing is, this was a terrible waste of money from the start. We always knew, when they said 30 billion quid, I'd seen what happened with the Olympics, the Millennium Dome. I always knew it was going to double or treble in price. Anyone who was watching government finances knew that. So we always knew it could get silly amounts of money. If it is, as the Times are hinting at today, that Rishi Sunak's advisors have said that the finances for HS2 are far worse than anyone knows. Now, we know we're looking at 107 billion quid now, and that is possibly even without having the Manchester end. So just between London, Royal Oak Common. I mean, no one's even heard of this place outside people who live in West London. It's not central London and Birmingham. Yesterday we had an expert on railway industry, Nigel Harris, who said he thinks the figure is closer to 180 billion quid, and that's just the Birmingham to London line. Even though we've spent tens of billions already, lawyers, construction, everything, at this point, we haven't got the money. We should walk away now, shouldn't we?
The point you made about connectivity in the north is actually the really crucial thing here. So we definitely need that cross east-west connectivity, and every business in the north, every leader, every mayor in the north is saying that that's really important, as well as those bus connections. But here's the thing, all of that rests on HS2. In fact, it was Boris Johnson, in responding to the Oakervee review in 2020, who said, of course, we need what he called high-speed north, but none of that makes any sense without HS2, without particularly the links through to Manchester Airport that are part phase 2A of the scheme. And yes, absolutely, you need the bus links, you need the local connectivity. But the fact is, a lot of the productivity in our country is in London and the southeast. And without connecting London and the southeast to the north, as well as connecting the north better with itself, you don't rebalance.
But hold on a minute, a lot of the productivity in the South East is because people feel they have to move to London if they're entrepreneurial to make a stop because of those transport links, because of the infrastructure, because we just get Crossrail. Yeah, it was overpriced and it was long delayed, but we still get it darn sight sooner than the North and the Midlands have been getting any transport links. You spend all that money, basically doubling down on the productivity in London and the South East, and then invest more in it, and then it makes it more productive. If we just spent a fraction of the money, it wouldn't cost as much as any projects in London because you don't have the same sort of density of housing that you're dealing with. We could see a massive increase in productivity and in success and financial and economic success for large parts of the country that have been left behind since the 1970s.
Yeah, you cannot just build a train line on its own, because as you say, what you're just going to see is people moving to the opportunity that currently is overwhelmingly in London and the southeast. But what HS2 needs to be and could be is part of a much broader project, right? Bringing new industry, new houses and new jobs to the Midlands and the North, which means that it doesn't just become something which sucks talent away from the north of the country, but instead rebalances.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that'd be crucial.
The border project.
Final question, Adam. Why are we so absolutely abjectly rubbish at building major infrastructure projects in this country? I mean, people cite China, but China's a completely different example, a massive country, totalitarian, they can do whatever they want. Let's build a city for 20 million people. No one can object. You wouldn't last very long. You'd be in prison if you started objecting to things like that. But France, near neighbour, they can build these sort of projects. Germany, near neighbour, they can build these sort of projects. Why can't we?
So there's loads of really good research on this. And I think one of the answers is basically inconsistency. And that's inconsistency in a couple of ways. One, if you know that you have to go around someone's field or not block access to their farm, you can plan around that. But the problem is there are so many appeals during the system from different organisations, whether that's an individual, a business, a parish council, that it means they're constantly chopping and changing. And it's also political inconsistency. The fact that there have been so many different decisions from ministers means the costs add up. So the problem is that at a local level, at a national level, we struggle to make our minds up with these things, and it means that the bills get very high.
Really interesting to talk to you. Adam Hawksbee, Deputy Director at Onward.